Hey guys, it's Bruce over here at Be Cool Radios. Howdy. Alright, we got an update on the GE Superbase, but we're just going to have to look at this 2001 scanning radio. Is that pretty nice? Yeah, I stuck that frequency counter in there because this guy does have extra channels. See that? So, yeah, some of these guys have 3 or 4 switches, so without a frequency counter you really don't know where you're at, right? Yeah, 5kc switch too, kind of cool. So yeah, you could have that 5kc switch on by accident, not even realize it. So yeah, that's why I like a frequency counter in these radios. When you're on sideband shooting some skip, talking on the high band, the free band, whatever you call that. Yeah. Somebody told me that this guy here wasn't a real frequency counter. It's just a display, but see, I put a relay in here, 12-volt relay for a crystal. You can see that goes up, right? These really do have it's just not a 6-digit frequency counter. Let's see if that clarifier will move. Oh yeah, you see? So, yeah, these are cool radios. They got a bad rap, I think. Alright, let's look at this GE Superbase. What we're gonna see here is, oh, it looks kind of like it did last time. Except, we've gone through, changed out these capacitors. You see this audio circuit? Yeah, we replaced them little stupid capacitors in there. We got the modulation back, and you can see here there's the frequency counter installed, right? And this is my little 75 ohm isolator to ground to stop this thing from whining, because you see this thing is not whining. And this way, if you mount the counter over here, you still have access to these programming buttons. So this is the way I kind of like to do it. It's secure, but it's accessible. Then I had to solder all these wires. You see them up here? I'm going to glue these wires after I know everything's working good. But right now, yeah, they just go here. They're heading under the board and out to the front, where we're gonna see this frequency counter. Alright guys, there you go. The mystery's over. Yeah, I asked everybody, red LEDs, blue LEDs, what's the story? Believe it or not, I got more red thumb ups than blue. Interesting. But turns out I didn't have any blue 0.56ers that were anodes. Common anodes, right? I only had common cathodes. Or I have that backwards, but So, right now we still don't have that face on it, but we do have the counter. Let's take a look at that face. Remember I told you what I was going to do? Grab them with my other hand here. Oh, what do you know? Okay. This is the face now. It's been all removed. See, I got some light shining in there. Nice, right? Polish that up with that Novus. Here's the top of it. Yeah, so this turned out real nice. Remember all that dust in there? Yeah, all that dust is all gone. Kind of a bitch to do that. You got to remove all these screws. There's like 8 screws that hold this thing on. You got to get this whole faceplate off to even do that. Yeah, that turned out real nice. Okay, so see there, the meters have got LEDs in them. Yeah, This meter is a little different color because somebody put a light bulb in there that was too hot, and it kind of browned the back, so it distorted the color a little bit. It's too bad they're not both distorted. Okay, I got a question for you guys. If you stick around to the end, I'm gonna ask you one last question on this thing, but I'm gonna go over the frequency counter there. Now you can hear this guy is on, and it's not making any noise. You see there's that frequency counter, it's active, right? So what are we gonna say? We're gonna say, why does it read 20.105? Because on PLL O2As, that is the frequency of the first IF at channel 40. And a few folks ask me, well, where do you tap in on these boards? Well, it's harder to see, and some of them, it's test point 3, but it's on the bottom side of PLL. And what they do is they actually have a 10 megahertz signal, and they double it, and it goes through a can, and sometimes it's a little weak to get a good signal off. So I'll give you a couple clues here. I padded this with an isolation resistor on the low, 75 ohms. And then on this, I used a 9 volt regulator. That 12 volt might work. But yeah, that lowers the voltage here, isolates the ground a little bit. And for the signal path low, yeah, I don't tie that to ground. I actually put a capacitor on there to ground, so it's kind of a DC coupling for shielding, but not an actual physical connection, right? Because that would cause common mode, and all your voltage and current would come through this wire, and that's the last thing you want to do. It's going to whine like hell. Okay, that's that. And then last here, let's get to this frequency counter and make it right. So here's the math. Okay, so we know channel 40 is 27.405, right? But we see a reading here of 20.105. So that means this guy, yeah, that doesn't look right to me, but we're going to give it a shot here. 7.3. Okay, but see what they do is they add another crystal later to get your right frequency, and you can either add or subtract depending on what crystal you're using. So it's all about switching schemes. So what we're going to do here, this counter has got two buttons, one for mode and one for selection. So what we're going to do here is look at this button here. Okay, see it's flashing this very first digit. Now you got to go to the other button, and you got to go all the way through 1 through 9 before it will let you get to that second digit. So you have to do this every time. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a 0. Okay, now you press that first button again. Alright, moved over a digit. Now go back to the next button, and we'll go to 7. Alright, hit the first button. Alright, now it moved over a digit, right? Let's go to 3. Alright, go back to the first button, and then we can just go right through until we get to the end, and it should show us the right number. What do you know? 27.405. Here's your clarifier. Alright. Okay. Now sometimes this will read the opposite. It would have read 37.505. And if that's the case, you go back into the menu. Okay, that's the IF, the first one. Hit the menu button again. See that IF N? Well, you can toggle that between N and U. So really it's adding or subtracting. And then the next menu item is your intensity. So right now it's set to 4. I'm going to have to see how it looks after the bezel's on and see how that intensity is. But the brighter it is, the more these drivers want to scream. Alright. So, this guy's looking really good. This board is really good shape. This radio is almost a keeper, I'm telling you guys. I just don't see him like this. So, it might make somebody a nice home. Again, I do sell these guys if somebody really gotta have them, right? We all know money talks, unfortunately, right? So, the last question I got is this A-B switch. Okay. So the A-B switch on this, to change the channel, the back output, you can go antenna A or antenna B, and there's a little relay in the back that switches between the two outputs. Those relays are getting pretty old, and this switch can sometimes get you in trouble because you have it in the wrong position, you key it up and you're blowing your finals. What the hell? Or you go through all this frustration just to realize the damn switch out of 20 switches is in the wrong position. So you guys let me know. Should I make this switch always permanently A and bypass that relay so it's always going out the 1A, put a little cap on the B? To me it sounds like an improvement, but it's not stock obviously. So yeah, you let me know. What do you think? Antenna AB is a good thing? I'm still scratching my head. What, I got a better antenna so I'm going to switch it in? I know, you could use an old beam that had horizontal phasing, but we don't do that anymore. Alright, 73 is Bruce. Yeah. Love these old radios, right? I like bringing them up to spec. Next video you see, this will have a face on it. We'll do some testing on it too. I haven't quite tuned it up yet, but you do see there's some key and there's some modulation. So we're almost there. 73s. Be cool in Seattle. Oh.